It's week 11 on a G'day Gridiron show, and we have previews for you. 4 games that we want to watch for the Sunday slate, 4 massive games, plus Monday Night Football. Let's get going. G'day Brad, g'day Nick, how you going?
Good. The football gods have shined on us and given us arguably the best weekend since I can remember, since playoff football. Really, the best regular season slate of games. It's amazing.
I was actually thinking this is probably the best lineup this year since week 1. And the only reason week 1 was this good was because there were so many unknowns.
I think this is the best in years. It's absolutely phenomenal.
It was very hard to pick just 4 games, I think, for all of us to talk about this week because there are so many different matchups with so many little storylines and bits and pieces going on. And, Nick, the 49ers might actually get a win this week.
They may. No Marvin Harrison this week, so that's what I'm banking on for our lack of secondary to be somewhat helped. So, yeah, who knows? We might get back to winning ways. We've been alternating, so we're on the win week this week.
That's right. I'm banking on a pattern continuing. Win, loss, win, loss. You lost last week. Going to win this week. Doesn't bode well for next week, but...
They'll win the game, but then they'll lose, another quarterback or a starting left guard or something.
We don't talk about that.
Don't say that. That irritates me. And I punched both in the mouth for saying that.
Sorry, but is that not the truth?
Punch blokes in the mouth. What is the charge? It is, yes. It is kind of the truth, but it's not really the truth, wrong, Brad. They're not going to lose a quarterback with Mac Jones at quarterback.
Fair point.
Apparently, Purdy could be back this week. That's what I'm hearing. But
then they'll lose a quarterback, right?
You've jinxed it now.
Sorry.
Put it on Brad. He can laugh because he's still not really a Cowboys supporter, but he can sort of just support the Cowboys from the outside and say, "Oh, I'm interested to see that player play."
Yeah.
Which just gives him a reason to watch the Cowboys.
Fair.
Yeah. So we eventually picked 4 games for this week, and they are actually 4 massive games. 3 very, very big divisional games, 1 big conference game, and then of course we do have Monday Night Football, which is the Cowboys and the Raiders to talk about, which will hopefully be a little bit more entertaining than any of the Thursday night matchups we've had to sit through over the last few weeks. So, I guess we should, with how big these games are, we should get down to it, boys, and start talking about some games we want to watch. We've got a lot to talk about in all these games. So maybe, Brad, as you've been known to say, we should make it short, sharp, and shiny.
It works for me.
Fire it up.
All right, let's start with the early game. The one early game on the slate this week, which is the Chicago Bears at the Minnesota Vikings. Now, some people will go, "What the hell are you previewing that for?" It doesn't make any sense, but that's because those people haven't looked at divisional rankings lately. And why do I say that? Because the Chicago Bears are 6-3. Is that right?
Yeah.
6-3?
Yeah.
Is that right?
I'm questioning that now. Yeah, they are. Same record as the Lions.
See? They are 6-3, and they are currently sitting second in the NFC North. And the Minnesota Vikings aren't exactly out of the divisional race yet. But that is exactly why we should be having a look at this game this week. And it is it wasn't the one I picked, surprisingly, because as you all know, I don't really like talking about Vikings football that much. I find there's a weird jinx that comes up for me whenever I talk about or bet on my own team. But it is quite an interesting matchup because the Bears could take over the division here depending on what happens with the Lions later on Sunday. So they could be at the top of the division by the end of Sunday If not, they're still going to be probably in second because the Packers are still another game behind again. And the whole thing, Brad, it's a very interesting matchup. The offense for the Bears has been playing exceptionally well over the last couple of games. We start to see this Ben Johnson offense really getting this mind meld with Caleb Williams and the rest of the young group that he took over at the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. This is kind of what everybody was hoping for and expecting, and people started panicking after week one, and jumping ship. But really, what they've been doing is just, it takes time. You're just building towards this stuff, and it's not like he's running a high school offense with 4 different options. And I think there probably is some sense of, okay, from Caleb Williams' part, this is his study habits and all that have really probably had to improve. He can't just rely on his athleticism. But you're seeing him, and Ben Johnson's putting him in the right places to make plays, and this offense has become quietly really, really explosive. Maybe not so quietly, but they lead the league in plays of 10 plus yards. So, and they're third in the league of plays of 20 plus yards. So it's what they're doing is impressive.
Defensively, though, Nick, they've still been letting in a lot of points. They've been winning games by very, very close margins, but only because the offense manages to score the right amount of points to get them over the line. They've been also had wins against the Giants, the Bengals, the Saints, and the Raiders over the last 5 or 6 games. So how much are we going to trust that defense to really sort of get it going against the Vikings?
Well, 3 things have been weird about the Bears this year. 1, they're actually a good offensive team. 2, they're actually a weirdly strange, badly defensive team. And 3, they're finding ways to win late, which they haven't done for many years.
Yeah.
Like you said, Ian, they've sort of faced some weird sort of obviously some bad teams overall. The Giants, the Bengals, they had the Ravens sandwich between their last 5 games. The Saints and the Commanders. So, they've had some opportunities to take advantage of some wins against some weaker teams, sure. I think more so now. I keep hearing during the week now, is McCarthy, I know he's been limited and everything, but is he good to go, or is that's still sort of undecided?
Yeah, it's still saying that he'll play this week. He did have a swollen hand from a hit to the helmet out of last week's game. Yeah.
Obviously, in the reverse fixture, we remember from week 1, that was the game where Caleb and the Bears pretty much controlled 3/4 of that game, and then just out of nowhere, like JJ McCarthy, there was a switch that was flipped straight away on its head, and they came back. I think he had 3 touchdowns in that last quarter, and they ran over and actually won at Soldier Field. So this is I think this is probably a bit of a bigger test for Chicago more than anything, with that mental lapse is what happened last time. I think, like you said, Brad, with their explosive sort of offense, how does the Vikings defense take that away from them? Obviously, it's a big effect with Ben Johnson feeding into, Caleb Williams and that style. He's missed a lot of throws, but he makes up for it with a lot of just explosive plays. And he throws the ball really hard. Like, it's incredible. Like with a lot of those drops, like you probably say, there's a pretty easy catches, but he throws a very hard ball. And obviously when it's wet or snowy and everything like that up in Chicago. So obviously don't have those conditions this time around in Minnesota. I'm really struggling to see, which way to really swing with it. Like I do want to go with the side of Minnesota, and then is that hand going to bother JJ McCarthy? And then it's on the flip side, it's like, is Chicago's defense finally going to get it together? Because I feel like if their defense can finally put it together, they probably win this game. But if they don't, like, it's going to keep Minnesota in it. That's sort of how I view it.
Brad, the Vikings last time out had a horrible game at home. Like, offensively, they were giving up a lot of false start penalties, and it was kind of the reverse of what happened when they played the Lions the previous week, where the Lions were just just penalty ridden. But it was a very unusual game for the Vikings overall, offensively and defensively at home, where it seemed like their own crowd noise really played against them. They're back at home this week against the Bears. The offense, I guess, has been coming together of late, but it's a very weird season for the Vikings. TJ Hawkinson seems to be a ghost. We don't get a lot of Justin Jefferson. I was talking to somebody during the week about the fact that fantasy-wise this year, he's basically a mid-tier quarterback, wide receiver.
Wide receiver. Yeah.
Aaron Jones and the running game are bipolar at best because it's either one or the other out of Jones and Mason's getting something or they get absolutely nothing. So how the Vikings, what's their best play, I guess, to get over the Bears here? How do they do this? What do they have to do to the Bears to control this game?
I think on the defensive side of the ball, they have to bring pressure, and they're the number one team in the league, ranked number one team in the league for quarterback pressure, and that's what they need to do. And Caleb Williams has historically fallen apart under pressure. So without pressure, he's completes 69, almost 70% of his passes. Under pressure, it drops down to 40. So if Minnesota can get home, then I think I give them the edge on this. So if they can get that pressure. That being said, Chicago has been leading the league in sack prevention over the last 5 games or something like that. So you're going strength against strength really for this, and then on offense, I think Minnesota's just gotta, if they can keep doing what they're doing, just in terms of winning ugly. McCarthy, people forgetting, he's taking a lot of heat, I think, but he's only played 6 games, 6 NFL games. That's I'm sorry, but he needs about 20 more before we can truly pass judgment on him. Really. So I think people need to just pump the brakes on the McCarthy criticism a little bit, let him get used to everything and settled in. So yeah, it's gonna come down, though, I think, to that pressure and how well the Chicago offensive line can hold up, because I trust Ben Johnson. It's just, if you can get to Caleb, you'll get him rattled.
Just on the JJ side of it, I reckon that's sort of been amplified, and I wonder from the fans' perspective in what you think of it. Is it maybe 2 things? Number one, that JJ McCarthy's been dealing with some injury issues, but more so, is there maybe like an eye on how well Sam Darnold's going in Seattle and for how cheaply they got him? Like, is there that sort of aspect? Like, because I've seen, I'm not sure how true it is, but like obviously, with Jefferson, there was that pick that happened. Sort of wasn't chasing. So is that more so frustration maybe that he's like, we had a good situation, won 14 games last year. I was getting plenty of the ball. Is there maybe that side of it as well?
I think in terms of a fan perspective, a lot of fans are up and down on the whole thing. They're very weird. For me, I don't think that they've got an eye on the Seahawks. I mean, they would have because they're in division, in the conference. But I don't think they got really an eye on like in sort of jealousy, I guess, on Sam Darnold wasn't here, because they wanted to go all in on McCarthy, and that's what they did. I don't think they expected the season to go as poorly as it has. I won't say as badly, but just some of the things that have happened haven't been the greatest. Certainly losing McCarthy early means that we are getting to the point where he's going to be his 6th NFL game, or 7th NFL game. So he should have had a lot more under his belt by this point in the season, which I think you would have hoped for when you get to this grinding part of the mid-season, where every team, you've got injuries and you need something to hang your hat on. I think we see that, Nick. I like to really rag on you guys and Purdy, but I think it's a similar thing that happened with Purdy in the first season, where you wanted him to develop early, and then get to that midpoint in the season, and he is the reason that some things are coming off, and that the luck makes you make that luck, and the team gets a win, and it just pushes it over the line. You know what I mean? And you get those guys who aren't as healthy, and then they get healthier for the end of the season, that kind of thing. So I think that's what they were hoping for with McCarthy. It didn't happen that way. McCarthy gets injured, Wentz comes in, a bunch of other guys start getting injured. Wentz gets injured, McCarthy's back. There was that whole thing of will he, won't he, for weeks and weeks and weeks. It's been a very weird situation, but I don't know. I think all they want to do is develop. I don't think that they're really trying to solve the world. I think, yes, they would love to get to playoffs, but I think the realistic expectation is let's aim for getting into the playoffs. Let's not aim for the Super Bowl, but let's aim for getting into the playoffs, growth, and he gets better, and then we look at future seasons. But that's going to become a problem because we've paid a lot of guys now, and we're kind of in a weird spot where we're trying to develop a quarterback who should have been developed last year, but we're also in a win-now situation because we paid Jefferson. Hawkinson's coming up to the third year, I think, of his contract now. You've got to pay Addison at some point. That's going to be tough if you're going to be able to do that. Aaron Jones has been great to find, and for him to stick around, that's been awesome, and then pick up Jordan Mason as well. All these things. But the offensive line as well has been disastrous. And Ryan Kelly came off IR this week, so he's been designated for return, or his 21-day practice window. So he'll be back shortly, which I think will be a bit of a boost into that offensive line. But yeah, it's not great. All I look for as a fan is just to, Jesus Christ, don't disappoint me every week. I want something that don't look like a disaster.
Yeah.
I don't know how to term it better, to be honest.
Yeah. And it's weird because you've probably seen like last season and it was just like there was such a big pop and maybe a sense of overachievement, and then this year it's just been like obviously you had JJ in, he got injured. Wentz, obviously now he's injured, but JJ's come back and trying to put it all together. It's been sort of weird, but it is a big game. Like I feel like surely this is that sort of game where you got to be up for both teams really, because both teams' schedules, like for the rest of the year, isn't exactly soft. They're both got to play a number of division games to come against Green Bay and Detroit, which are probably if you're ranking them, probably the two teams that you think are probably more talented, obviously. So. I'd almost go to say like the loser of this game, it's pretty big, particularly for Chicago, because then that means that they've got then 3 losses in the division, which becomes very difficult for them later on in terms of seeding. And for Minnesota, like obviously the overall record.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the biggest thing for me here in this game is the Bears need to win this game. They need to win this game, and then they get that Week 18 matchup against the Lions, which is going to be very important because they lost against both the Vikings and the Lions Week 1 and Week 2. So at this point, you beat the Vikings, you're gonna be on sort of, you won't have that tie break anymore. The Vikings already got the tie break, so you'll have a tie there, so that helps you in division rankings. So they need to get this win and then be able to move forward, because the Packers game is in a few weeks after they get done over after they go through Steelers and Eagles. Then they've got the Packers for a couple of weeks, like 2 out of 3 weeks there. So, hard run home. So they really need this, because I think getting the 7-3 and going to where are they going to? They're going to take on the Steelers next. Steelers at home next week. That's going to be that'll help them.
Mm.
So anyway, so that's Bears Vikings. Either of you boys looked at any kind of betting lines, anything for this
Nothing
game
for me.
at all?
It's very hard to be honest. So I've honestly stayed away.
To be honest, I sort of looked at even just some anytime touchdown scorers. Couldn't even find one that I would be happy with, because, as I said, the Vikings offensive sort of side hasn't been scoring a lot of touchdowns. Not a lot's been happening. And Chicago-wise, I guess they spread it around a fair bit. And that's a Ben Johnson thing. So,
Yeah, I mean, my bet on this, you got a total of 48.5. So I would tend to lean towards the over on this. And if you I'm gonna stick with that one. I was thinking about the Bears taking the points, but I think it's too evenly matched.
yeah. So Vikings are favoured by 3.5 at the moment. Totals 47.5, actually, Brad. It's dropped another
47. Okay.
point. Yeah, not a lot else sort of going on that would be good value, I guess. This is one of those games where I wish I could get some defensive props.
Yeah. All right. Mm-hmm.
Actually,
Sacks
and
or
there is,
tackles.
yeah, there is actually. Jesus Christ, that'd be good. There's a sports bet market for defensive player anytime touchdown scorer.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Which would be absolutely wild. Isaiah Rodgers is $71 as a.
I'd say if somebody thinks that they can pick that, then good luck to them.
That's a wild bet if you want to take that. I really,
Yeah,
really,
it
I
is.
want
That's-
really, and I've said it for years now. I want more of the defensive sacks. I want players sack total,
Yeah.
things like that.
I would love to have sacks.
Or like
sacks
tackles
on
over
there.
under. That'd be pretty
Mhm.
good. Like for linebackers, even.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
No,
that'd
that
be
would
pretty
be
cool.
That would be really good.
Degenerates.
I think it
over
would
here.
be too. All right,
Love it.
let's.
Aussie,
It might be pretty obvious, but I am not Matty C.
NFL,
Absolutely stoked to have it on the podcast, mate. Welcome.
fantasy,
Tay, I think it's time you just abused your mate here.
Would you rather be fighting zombies or aliens?
find hidden gems,
And with that, we're into some breakouts.
I'm glad you're stalling because my results last week were a hot piece of ass.
We all had our struggles, mate.
You've unzipped the pennies and it's time to put the pennies in the pit. Let's do it.
I'm taking Trey McBride,
I'm just leaning on the old tuck shop, tuck draft.
and all of a sudden he's just lighting them up.
catch starts of the week,
I'm just going to go ahead and take Goff at Chicago.
So I'm going to go running back. I'm going to take Travis Etienne.
I'm going to go ahead and take your boy Ty Tracy.
I'm going to take Adam Thielen.
So I'm going to go and take Richo against Tennessee.
I'll take Matt Stafford.
Just a little float out the Dalton Kincaid.
I'm actually going to take Caleb against the Lions.
Friday and Sunday all season long. The Aussie NFL Fantasy Show,
Yeah, I know. It's amazing.
thanks to the Aussie Gridiron Network.
Good to give me the dance floor. I'll probably fucking snap the floorboards.
Let's move on to the next game in the time cycle, which would be Seahawks at Rams. What an NFC West matchup this is going to be. Talk about divisional matchup. These two teams, top of the tree at the moment in the NFC West. Well, most of the NFC West is equal, isn't it, Nick?
Well, not Arizona, but yeah.
No, not Arizona, not yet. But yes, the Rams and the Seahawks are both at 7-2 in the NFC West right now. A game ahead of the 49ers. The Seahawks have been, as we mentioned over weeks now, have been looking like one of the most complete teams as a complete unit in football so far this season. They're on a 4-0 away streak right now. They've been doing absolutely amazing, and they go to Los Angeles to take on the Rams, who obviously are at 7-2 as well. And as we talked about on our reaction show earlier in the week, Matt Stafford has been playing at full MVP level once again. This game is going to be utterly electric, Brad. What a matchup between two massive titans in the NFC and the NFL right now.
Yeah, this is in my opinion, this is the two best teams in the league right now. This is your NFC Championship. Last week we had the divisional round between from the NFC West, and then this is your conference championship. So it's just, yeah, you're going two of the hottest teams. Basically, you got both of them are top five in scoring, both of them are top five in defense. Both of them look like they could be 1 and 2 in the NFL. So
Yep.
how do you pick this game?
You've got two top five quarterbacks in the league. You've got two probably top five running backs in the league. You've got two top five wide receivers in the league. Probably three if you really want to chuck Devontae in there as well. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And Seattle, I mean, they're coming in on 10 straight wins, the road wins, sorry. So that's the longest active streak in the NFL. Rams are number one in point differential over the last 5 weeks. Seahawks are second, by the way, in that. So it's just everything about this game is just screaming best game of the year. I mean, you wait, it's going to go out and be like 3-0 at halftime or something,
No, it's not on Thursday. It's
Defensively
fine.
still.
Yeah, fair.
It's not the
fair.
Thursday or the Monday night game, so we're all right.
Yeah. But I mean, the one stat that I found, I mean, I know I've been throwing a lot of stats out here, but one stat I found that was really interesting that's going to lead to a matchup is Stafford leads the NFL in play action. He's 35%, over 35% play action plays. And his passer rating is phenomenal under play action. It's like 135. But Seattle is the best in the NFL against play action. So it's just this who's going to bend, who's going to break, and where's it going to? I think it's going to come down to who can do the big play. So are you going to see JSN haul in a 40-yarder, or are you going to see Stafford, just hit somebody in the end zone? I can't wait. It's just two heavyweights slugging it out. And personally, I'm giving Seattle, I think, a slight edge on this one, even though it's at home against for the Rams.
God, I hate everything about this. Brad, firstly, I would like to say I am sort of flattered that you think we'd make it to a divisional round this year, but sure, with that comparison from last week, with how badly we play defense at the moment. I'm going to pile on with the stats. I'm piling on with the stats.
Yep.
So
Love it.
Top 10. This is what Seattle ranks in. Least sacked, point differential, sacks, points per game, opponents rush yards per game, opponents points per game, pass yards per game, opponents yards per game, total yards per games, and takeaways. Then the Rams. So top 10 in passing yards per game, opponents passing points per game. Opponents points per game, point differential, turnover differential, takeaways, total yards per game, points per game, turnovers, sacks, and opponents rush yards per game. So that's that's not pretty much it. And another interesting stat I came across as well is that neither of these teams have actually trailed since week 7. So in the last 4 weeks, not one time, not 1 minute, second at any stage have they trailed. So I do hate to say it, these are two very good teams. Like Seattle have played out of their minds on both sides. Like Sam Darnold's really coming through with the transition across. Their defense has gotten a bit healthy, so they're getting a lot better. The Rams on the other side, they've actually just gotten better and better offensively. I've got a conspiracy theory that thinks that this Matthew Stafford thing in the preseason and the training camp about his back was all a hoax, because that guy's been playing out of his mind and probably is leading the MVP. In this game, I don't know, Brad. There's a bit of, I mean, I'm picking the Rams here, so it's not really hard. But going away from Seattle, I think in LA, that is a bit of a factor. But I also do trust LA a little bit more than what I do with Seattle. For two sort of small reasons. Number one, Seattle have sort of come up against some sort of weaker teams as of late. So, like, look at Arizona, you got Washington, Jacksonville, those sort of teams. LA's had, they've played some easier teams as well. But obviously I trust a little bit more what they're doing, compared to like with Matthew Stafford. Do I trust him a bit more than Sam Darnold? Defensively is a bit weird because they've still been conceding quite a bit of points. The Rams, as of the last few weeks, somehow we were able to get 3+ touchdowns on them last week. But this game, yeah, like it's a coin flip. It's a literal coin flip. The betting market see it the same. I think it's 3 points to the Rams, which you usually give to the home team anyway. It's a coin flip. I'm pretty much going to go with the Rams. I think they're a bit more seasoned, a bit more experienced. And it's pretty much splitting hairs, really. Like I'm assuming that you guys probably see it the same. But I just trust the Rams just a little bit more based off of experience and history.
I'll give you some more stats. Let's pile more stats on.
Love it.
Both of these teams are on 4-game win streaks. They're both on 4-game win streaks. Both of their losses came in the same week, obviously, because they're on 4-game win streaks. The Seahawks lost to the Bucks 38-35. That's a 3-point loss. The Rams lost to the 49ers 26-23. That's a 3-point loss. So unusual. Yeah, because you had a win.
That's right.
A lot of other things here. Betting lines are crazy. Zach Charbonnet seems to get all the touchdowns on the ground, where Kenneth Walker gets all the actual yards. Kenneth Walker hasn't had a touchdown in the last 5 games, at least, whereas Charbonnet gets at least 1 or 2, averages 1 or 2 every week. So if you want to go for anything, Zach Charbonnet anytime touchdown scorer is 255 on Sportsbet right now. That is sensational value. Devontae Adams as well has been on with Puka Nacua sort of in and out, injured, doing dumb stuff, injured again. Devontae Adams has been on a heater. He's got 6 touchdowns in the last 3 games. He's paying $1.92. And apart from that, Walker's yards, his under over total is quite low. So if you get Walker for 50+ yards rushing, it's just over $2 right now. So they are some sensational value in some of the markets right now, when it's very odd. But it's going to be what a great game. I can't pick it yet, but I am leaning probably Seahawks right now.
Yeah.
Sorry, Isaac.
Go Hawks.
I can't believe I'm the one siding with Isaac here. That's insane. There's some good markets here as well. Like I've seen, particularly with JSN, because he scored, I think, 4 of his last 5 games. He's paying $2.40 for any time touchdown, which is strange.
Yep.
And the other one I noticed.
Well, that's why I thought the Charbonnet one was weird too, because he keeps scoring and it's so high.
And his over under for receptions is at 7.5. And I think if you are going to beat the Rams at any sort of way, it would be beating them in the pass game with their secondary not being as good. So that's just sort of 2 things that I noticed. And obviously Jason's in sensational form. So
his under over is at 100. His under over is at 100. It is so high.
Even though I consider going over, I would still consider maybe going that over too, even with 100.
I won't, and you know why? Because of another guy that is on the Seattle Seahawks, who I think will actually have a much better game if he is back and he's healthy. That is, because I think he might be. Is Cooper Kupp playing? Is a big question that I had.
We played last week
because this would be Cooper Kupp returning to LA, returning to the team that drafted him. Returning to the team that I guess made him a household name. And I don't know, I really hate the term
revenge game.
I really hate that because it's not, because this is a business. There's no revenge. But he's currently dealing with hamstring and heel injuries because he was out for the Week 9 game. He's still questionable for Week 10 at this stage. but he did return to week 11, but he did turn to practice on a pretty limited basis. If he is in, I think Cup has a pretty decent game.
It wouldn't surprise me if he does. I know he's come out and said, it's not about him. He's given the whole team line, team first thing, but there's going to be a little spice to his step. So yeah, I don't know what's his line for catches and yards. Do we know?
There's no line on Sportsbet at the moment for Cooper Kupp because
at the moment.
Yeah, and I think that's because there's still the questionable designation.
Yeah, right.
There's nothing there. I will
Luke is
just
at
have a
7.5.
look.
Which is interesting because
Just going to have a quick look on StatMate to see if it tells me anything.
Because Devontae Adams had a few issues last week.
Yep.
So I wonder if they really go to Puka a lot this week. Yeah, interesting. But yeah, there's a lot of value in this game.
I think they will.
Betting-wise.
I think
Just whoever loses.
I think,
The benefit out of this is that someone's got to lose. So, just make fun of that team. It's just very simple.
hey, tell that to Dallas and Green Bay. Okay, no, somebody doesn't have to lose.
I think Cooper Kupp's line is probably set somewhere in the 30s or 40s. It's quite low.
If it's in the 30s, I'm taking the over.
I'm just looking at his last 5. Well, I just went to StatMate to have a look at what his last 5 were.
It hasn't been that great.
No, and they're sort of saying that 35 plus he's paying $1.67 on PointsBet right now.
Oh, so that's not paying very well.
No, so that tells me that his line is somewhere near there.
Yeah. No, $1.67 is not much value at all.
20. His line is 20.
20 at $1.67, I'd do.
No, at 20 because he's paying $1.01 at 20 plus. So
what?
That tells me his line is at 20 on PointsBet. Yeah, I haven't gone to PointsBet yet, just to double check, but that's what StatMate's sort of telling me.
Okay,
it is sad, but I think he does. I think he has a really good game. 20 is great. Oh, there'll be a touchdown in there. I think if you get Cooper Kupp for a touchdown, I can't talk right now. Then which is great for podcasting. But yeah, he's paying $4.90 on Sportsbet. We've had a lot of betting talk in this particular game. This is great.
Yeah, we are.
We are Australian.
It's the most we've had in a while. We are Australian. I'm just pointing out this is the most we've had betting talk on one singular game we've had in a while, and I think that's reflected in what we talked about earlier. That just the quality of these games this week. So
absolutely.
All right, let's move on from this game. I really am losing the ability to speak, Brad. 8:25 on Sunday Monday in Australia. Holy God, Ian, get it together, man. Chiefs at Broncos. The Kansas City Chiefs coming off a bye. That's an important thing to remember. Going to Mile High to take on the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos have been playing pretty well of late, and they have been quietly pushing up. Well, not even that quietly, pushing up the ladder. They are 8-2 in that division, whereas the Chiefs currently sit at 5-4, with the Chargers in between the two at 7-3. So that this is a big game for the Kansas City Chiefs. As I said, coming off a bye, we all know historically how well the Kansas City Chiefs and any Andy Reid team has been coming off a bye. They are nearly a lock coming out of bye week. But this being 5-4 and third in their division right now makes this game even more important for the Kansas City Chiefs. The Broncos, on the other hand, well, that makes it just as important too that they beat the Chiefs here, send the Chiefs to 5-5, and just keep them down low while they go to 9-2, and they start controlling the AFC as a whole. Brad,
it's where we're talking about the high-powered offense of LA and Seattle. This is the exact opposite. I feel like this is the defensive slugfest between two AFC powerhouses. And both of them hold their opponents way under their scoring averages or their expected scoring. KC has 38.5 fewer points than expected, which is the best in the NFL, and Denver is 28.3 fewer points, and they're the third best. So Denver's third in pressure rate, and first in sack rate. So this one is going to be a defensive slugfest. And if only these games were like back to back and not on at the same time. And if you have any means, if you don't own the NFL subscription, you're trying to watch this, you got to figure out a way to watch them both at the same time. I mean, it's gonna be phenomenal.
Get the multi-view on the zone. Get it operating.
Get the zone, multi-view the shit out of these games because the late window is going to be phenomenal with the Seahawks Rams game. Even the 49ers Cardinals game isn't going to be that bad, but you know, you got Ravens Browns, which has always been a slugfest traditionally. And then you've got this game. It's going to be that's a quad box right there, baby.
Well, the only thing, the quad, I mean, I understand the novelty of it, but if it's almost too small for me. I guess I just need to tell the wife I need a bigger TV. That's what I need to do.
Well, yes, and ADHD, Brad, because that's exactly what you need to watch quad box.
So
I can attest to the fact that you need ADHD to watch quad box.
yes, exactly. I just wonder if Denver is going to, because Denver's also coming off of a mini bye. They played, on Thursday night, so they've got there some extra rest as well.
7-game win streak too, Brad. They're on.
Yeah. So exactly, the thing that's making me tip lean more towards the Chiefs is purely the Bo Nix play. He has looked pedestrian lately. He's sailing throws when guys are wide open and 1 minute, and then he's hitting guys on a dime, making beautiful throws the next minute. So whereas Patrick is Patrick, and he's just consistent. So I think it's going to come down to quarterback play, and who would I rather have the ball in the hands of? It definitely would be Mahomes over Bo Nix. I think in order for Denver to win, he's going to have to be Bo Jackson, not Bo Nix. And shout out to the 90s reference. So.
Well, yeah, I think you got Spags coming off an extra week as well, being able to scheme up defensive schemes to take on Bo Nix. Nick.
Absolutely. We talk about Denver's defense and how great it's been and everything. Their offense has been just so all over the shop. They've had some good games where stuff has been put together. Like they put up, I think, 44 on Dallas, and then they had like another 5-touchdown game, I think, against not the Jets. No, sorry, the Giants. I was it the Giants. So obviously been able to do it against some of the sort of weaker defensive teams, but offensively they've just been so just weird. And there's been so many reports about Bo Nix and how he's been like sort of anxious in the pocket, or someone says overconfident. So I'm not sure which one to go off of here. But it's quite evident that something is going on sort of mentally, more so than anything. We've noticed a lot more times this year, just with having a look and with sort of teams that are playing a higher percentage of cover 2 defenses against him. So with this sort of offense and those sort of receivers, they've pretty much got 2-3 sort of deep threats. So they like to take the top off and like to take shots down the field. And so obviously teams are denying that. And so, sort of a few times last week where he's trying to push the ball down the field, really force it for some reason. And it's really stagnating what they do on offense. A stat I came across, they're the second highest team with the second highest third and out percentage team in the league. So 28% of their offensive drives, 28.6% are 3 and out. So
that's high.
They get on the field and then their defense is quickly back on the field, which is not good. You want to be able to keep your defense off the field for as long as possible, of course, particularly with the defense. If you're going to be on the field quite a bit, and they are quite good, and that's the focal point. Defenses as the season goes on tend to wear down, a lot more injuries, a lot more hitting if they're on the field. On the Chiefs side of the ball, Patrick Mahomes 13-1 against the Broncos all time. Only the one loss, which I think came a couple of years ago, but the pressure is all on them because Denver, I think, knows if they win this game, they're a foot in the door for the division. They're a foot in the door. Now they would obviously have to have to try and get one game, whether it's there or in Arrowhead. But the Chiefs have to win both. They do have to sweep because they're now 5-4. The Broncos have got probably a more favorable sort of schedule coming home. They've obviously, if they get this game, then the Chiefs become 3 games back. And to me, that just means that the Chiefs probably still make the playoffs, but they'll probably be on the road the entire time as a wild card. You're right. I do see this as a defensive game, but if there's going to be if it's going to be a defensive game, it's going to be close. And like you said, Brad, like it comes down to the end of who do you want with the ball last. And for me, that's Patrick Mahomes, because even though I do think it could be a defensive game, I do agree with that. Chiefs offense has, had some rhythm and they've been quite good. So coming off a bye, it is a definite must win for the Chiefs if they want to retain the AFC West.
The handicap is at -4.5 to the Chiefs, who are favoured in this game. 44.5 for the total. Lowest of the week, I'm pretty sure, is 44.5. It's a very low game,
it is.
which reflects that defensive stuff that Nick was just talking about. Look, I struggled with lines at all in this game as well. I actually went to an alternative handicap for the Chiefs at -2.5. And still got $1.64, so that's pretty decent value for what would probably actually end up being a 3-point game, I think. So,
I looked at one thing I came across for $1.87. Either team by 7 or less, so it doesn't matter which way, as long as the margin's 7 or less. $1.87.
It's good value.
Even though I probably would be
not
picking the
bad.
Chiefs, but if the Broncos can actually get out in front, play a bit of defense. Within a score.
It's hard to pick touchdown scorers even in these games because it's going to be defensive, but they also neither team has really used scored points in that way for a long time now. Yeah.
I'm gonna break out the fun police, and even with 44, I'm still taking the under on this game.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, well, I guess it was 10-7 against the Raiders last week on Thursday night.
Yeah.
So, and they were 18-15. The Broncos won 18-15 the week before. So, yeah, Brad, I see where you're at.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to this one, to the final game for Sunday. Nick, do you want to lead us into this one? Lions at Eagles.
Which I believe, as you said, the Sunday night game. So last year, these two teams were the clear juggernauts in the conference. So, Detroit got out hot. They were just absolutely blazing through everyone. And then they lost some guys defensively. So that meant that they were sort of winning in shootouts. And obviously, as we know, in the division round, they got bumped by Washington. Philly obviously went on. They had a massive run. They went through and did go to the championship game, and obviously, as we do know, went to win the Super Bowl. This season, though, both teams are still towards the top of the NFC and obviously top of their divisions at the current stage. Obviously, we don't see really anyone challenging Philly in the NFC East at the moment. But a crucial matchup more so, even for Philly, is looking at a head-to-head record, which could prove a factor in January about, does this game go back to Philly or is this game in January going to Detroit? The Eagles weirdly have still not found an offensive identity, even though last year they were just so good with running the ball, and they still had a passing game against the Packers. So they rushed for 34 times for only 3.3 yards a carry. With Saquon only going for 2.7 yards per carry. So they're trying to run the ball more, but haven't quite had that efficiency like they had last year. Their O-line hasn't been quite as productive either. That stat I mentioned before about the Denver Broncos, who were second. So guess who's top? The Philadelphia Eagles at 32% for the highest third and out percentage in the league, which shows they just quite haven't been able to get it together in terms of, staying on the field, building a bit of rhythm. The other factor is obviously Brad wouldn't have heard this during the week, but online. But AJ Brown being on various sort of streaming sites and providing some advice of it is an absolute shit show. And if you've got me in your fantasy team, drop me. So that is advice. I don't know if that was mentioned by Matty or Taylor this week, but that's literal advice from the player himself to get rid of. You could get rid of himself from any teams that you may have AJ Brown in. So with AJ Brown, an interesting stat I did come across is that from 2022 to 2024, so the first 3 years he was in Philly, he had one game where he had 3 or fewer targets. This season, he's already had 2. So 1 out of 47 now has had 2 of the last 8 games with 3 or fewer targets. And, he was averaging sort of 80 plus yards per game. Now he's down to about 50. Obviously, he's creating a lot of noise. So defensively, though, it's been a bit weird. So they have been able to get everything together on that side of the ball. They've slowly been able to get better. They've beaten some good quarterbacks. They've gone and beaten Patrick Mahomes. Obviously, we know what he's about. Matt Stafford, who's the MVP leader. Baker at the time when he was in MVP form. Jordan Love as well last week, who's sort of been up and down. Dak, who's also been in good form as well. So defensively, they've been able to pick it up. Offensively, they haven't got anything going. On the flip side, Detroit, the different setup last week with Dan Campbell taking over the play calling for the offense. Not sure if that was good or not, but they ended up putting up 44 points, so I think it turned out okay. Detroit statistically are the best team against the spread on the road since 2023, 18-5 against the spread as the road team. You have that. And on top of that, I think in this game, I think the offensive power of Detroit, even though the Eagles have gotten better defensively, might be a bit too much. I think if there is an avenue for Philly to be able to win this game, it does have to be through the air, ironically, with AJ Brown and Devonta Smith, with the injuries on the back end for the Lions. But obviously, a very, very tight contested game. But I think, we go down to that coin flip. At the moment, I just think Detroit is probably in the better form, despite Philly being really good at the moment defensively. I think defensively, Detroit sort of holds up not too bad considering Philly's sort of weird offensive woes. But the offensive power, as we know, for Detroit is just incredible.
Yeah, I just can't get over the fact that we've got just an amazing game, and this is our fourth game that's absolutely phenomenal. 2 powerhouses, and I mean, Nick, you summed it up perfectly. The intriguing thing I'm going to find about this, I'd love to know the over/under on how many times they cut to Dan Campbell, calling plays. It's got to be 20, or I bet you it's just might as well have like the Dan Campbell box in the bottom corner or something. Because he's obviously taken over the play calling duties, and I want to see this game get close, because my hunch is if it gets down to the wire and Dan Campbell is calling the offensive plays and they're successful, he's gonna just friggin' lose it and go nuts on the sideline. I want to see that. So I want to see him do the Aaron Glenn walk down the sideline, do one of these things.
That would be worth seeing.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think I trust Detroit in the trenches. Is bottom line. I just think I'm going to give them the edge in the trenches. I think they're just a little bit more nasty than Philly. Philly's still, I think, dealing with a little bit of a Super Bowl hangover. They've obviously got some internal problems. So I'm given a slight edge, actually. I'm taking the spread with Detroit.
I think this is one of a couple of games this season which is going to decide the number one seed in this conference as well.
Okay. Yep.
There's a couple other games later on in the season. I think when the Lions take on the Rams, for instance. And the Eagles don't really have that again, but this is why I think it's going to be one of those games that decides the conference and or who gets the number one seed in that conference, in the NFC. So I too, though, am leaning towards Lions fairly heavily, just because I think that they are more of the form team right now. I do think with all the smoke going on right now online around AJ Brown, that it is going to be a pretty heavy AJ Brown week. It's just weird that it just ends up that way. You get a bit of complaining going, and then they'll throw a whole lot more at him, offensive scheme wise. Eagles are favoured by 2.5. I would probably easily look at the Lions at that 46.5 for the total. I think it's going to be an over game for the total as well, but that's just because these. I think it's going to be a lot of rushing yards. Is my big feeling. There'll be Gibbs, Montgomery, and Saquon Barkley basically just everywhere on this field, just trying to do what they can to keep their teams in it.
Yeah.
Just stunned, Brad. All right.
This has been such a good week of previews, really. With the games coming up. Could have done more, really, like we said at the start.
Yeah. I mean, apologies to Buffalo and Tampa Bay. It's just, but the Dallas Cowboys and Las Vegas Raiders say, "Hold my beer."
They do. Brad and I did talk about a couple other games that we could do in this Sunday slate, and obviously the Bills-Bucks one was one of them, but not being any kind of divisional or conference thing really, I think, struck out against that one. But there were other ones. Brad, you know what? Let's just quickly, before we get to Monday Night Football, just really quickly.
Yeah.
Like, I was looking at things like Panthers-Falcons, and I know call me crazy, but that's going to be an interesting game.
Washington-Miami.
Yeah, well, that one not so much. Chargers-Jags, that would have been really interesting. Bengals-Steelers, that could actually be really good.
Yeah, there's amazing storylines and all
that's, of course, that's Joe going against the team that he was on at the start of the season that he started week one with. That's a crazy storyline.
And how have we gone this far in the show without mentioning the fact that Jameis Winston is going to be starting for the New York Giants?
We have Jameis Winston is going to be starting for the New York Giants. Hey, I said, what did I say? The reaction show last week, I said that there had to be something going on in that franchise with why Russell Wilson kept being QB2. Because straight away, we get a coaching change, and all of a sudden, Winston's elevated to QB2.
Yeah.
So if Dart is actually out in concussion protocol, Winston was starting. Then they announced straight away that he's going to start this week. So Russell Wilson was immediately bumped back to QB3 this week. So there's something going on there early in the season, and I think it played against Brian Daboll. But yes, Jameis Winston will be starting against the Green Bay Packers in New York, which matters. And there's a new coach because we've got the interim coach, so there's an interim coach bump. Man, Jameis Winston lighting up +7. Is that all it is?
+7 is the line. I don't know if he can move the ball. New coach bump.
Oh, my prediction is Jameis will throw 4 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. I mean, it's just, how epic would that be,
mate? Just look at Wan'Dale Robinson's lines when they come out, because they're not even out yet either. With all this change, there's no lines. Like it's stunned the betting markets, and they don't know what to do. But when that comes out, just keep an eye on Wan'Dale Robinson, Darius Slayton, Theo Johnson's lines, because their over/under receiving lines are going to be sensational. I'll give you that right now. Well, Wando Robinson right now is still paying $3.10 for any time touchdown, and he would be the guy. He'll be the number one guy. Yeah, so that'll be crazy. There is defensive prop markets. Jameis Winston alternate interceptions. 2+ interceptions is 271. 3+ Brad.
Smash it.
465.
Smash it.
Yeah.
I'm doing it right now. Hello,
Press
Bets
that
with Mates
button.
group. We are going straight to the pool room on that one.
Correct. Exactly. What do you call that, doll? Winning.
Winning.
So yes, it's just so many storylines on Sunday, and we could have picked so many more games. And we probably could have picked so many better games than Monday Night Football, where the Dallas Cowboys go to Las Vegas, the big toilet seat, to take on the Raiders. I don't really want to talk about this game, but we have made a pact that we would talk about Monday Night Football previews on this show. So the 3-5-1 Dallas Cowboys go to the big toilet seat to take on the 2-7 Las Vegas Raiders. I pray to the NFL gods that this is a good, fun game, because the setup between these two bottom-dwelling teams right now could be disastrous for everything we've had with all these great games on Monday Night Football so far this season. Unbelievably, Dallas are still second in the NFC East, and that's only because the Commanders and the Giants are so woeful as well. And the Eagles, they're uncatchable right now.
Mm-hmm.
The Raiders are, obviously, we talked about earlier, bottom in the AFC West, and I don't know what to talk about positively in this game. I want to see the Cowboys will be great on offense. I want to see more of Dak Prescott. I want to see more of George Pickens. I want to see those two. They will be amazing. I want to see more Jameson Williams, actually, because in one fantasy league I'm in, some bloke dropped him last week, and I was like, yoink! So, a lot more of that. On the other side of the ball, offensively, I still think that Geno Smith is questionable, and I don't know why you go to him. I just put Pickens in, for God's sakes. Just put Kenny Pickett in. And just go with it. And then run the shit out of Ashton Genty. That's all you have to do, Raiders. Seriously. Do that, and then let Max Crosby eat. There's your game plan against the Cowboys.
Well, yeah. Yes, I see. I totally see what you're saying. And the crazy thing is, after these 4 amazing games, and there's other great games as well, you got these 2 bottom dwellers, and I bet you this game will be the highest rated game of the week.
Well, Brad, it's the highest total right now at 50.5 between two teams with 5 wins.
Oh, see, I wouldn't actually. Okay, I'm going to let my betting out of the bag early. I would not take that. I'm going to take the under on that. And that's
no.
The Raiders cannot score that much.
Well, it's just, my thought is, okay, the first 4 weeks, Cowboys didn't even turn the ball over. The last 5 weeks, the last 2 games, they've turned it over 5 times. So it's just, and I know they've had the bye, because of the tragedy that's happened, they're going to be amped up. They are. They're going to be super, super amped up. But I just don't see them being able to, score that many points, really.
Oh, Brad.
And I'm sorry, but the Vegas, they're so bad. They're not good on offense or defense.
They are bad, but they have a sensational talent at running back that they need to just let loose. And especially against the Cowboys, who couldn't stop a wet fart on the ground right now.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right about that.
They gave up 100 on the ground to Cardinals last week. The Cardinals, they don't have a running back. They gave up 163 to Denver. They gave up 200 yards to Carolina 4 weeks ago when Rico Dowdle just ran ham all over his former team. So that's why I'm saying, just put Kenny Pickett in, and let him hand the ball off to Genty and let him do what the kid does. Have that breakout game that we've all been waiting for. Ashton Genty, 150 plus scrimmage yards. Give it to me.
This could be that game.
Although
the other side of that is, the Cowboys made a big splash at the trade deadline. At least for Cowboys' sake, it is a big splash. So this is going to be the first game of Quinnen Williams, and it'll be very fun to see how that defensive line goes, because you've got now Kenny Clark from Green Bay, you got Quinnen Williams, and you got Odisi Igazua. Three good defensive tackles. So I'm not saying amazing, but I think they could really cause some havoc. So it'll be real interesting. I'm just going to be when Dallas is on defense, I don't care what's happening behind that defensive line. I really want to see what's going on with those interior and the Vegas offensive line has been so woeful that I think it has the potential to be get ugly for Genty, possibly. So unless they're getting creative. So hopefully Pete Carroll's got some magic up his sleeve to make it competitive.
Osa Odigizua. There you go, Nick.
Thank you. Thank you.
Say that again, because I was just like, what? Is that a real name?
It's not that hard. It's actually a fair bit of onomatopoeia in Odigizua. So it is actually, it sounds how it's spelt too. It's probably one of those, the only names you get these days. It sounds how it's spelt.
Yeah.
Don't ask me to say your left end's name though, mate. Donovan
Ezeraku.
Azaraku, that's what it was. There's some cool names on this Cowboys defense, that's for sure.
Yes.
Nick,
Nick,
quickly, any thoughts on this game?
As to, more so to the league as to why this was a primetime game, but we've pretty much
it should
covered
be bumped out.
Yeah, should be flexed. You can pick like about
the
4 other
unfortunate
games.
part about this is,
like you said,
it's not until week 12 where we can flex games, Monday Night Football games.
I know, literally next week. But if there's a path to victory for the Raiders, you've got Genty on the ground, you've got Bowers there. There could be something there, but I just think that when it comes down to it, Dallas's offense will be back up and about. Obviously, they've had the week off, like Brad said, with that bye, and then obviously from that prime time game against Arizona. I fully expect them to be at least firing on the offensive side. So take the 3.5 for Dallas. I think they'll probably just get out early and just probably keep a safe distance.
Perfect. Right. Well, that's Monday Night Football. Pick it how you want, really. And that's the other 4 games, the Sunday slate of games. We talked a lot about those. I'll tell you what, hit us up on socials and tell us what games you would have watched out of those Sunday slate of games. Like, which ones would you pick? Which ones are you dying to watch? Are they different to ones we've got? Are they the same? Is there something else in some of those games that you're looking for? You can find us socials, Linktree/Aussie Gridiron Network. Chuck it all in there. Just tell us what you would have watched, because I'm really, really interested, because those Sunday games are amazing. The whole Sunday slate is amazing. And if you can get up and watch it from 5 a.m., do it. Absolutely do it. Spend a day on the couch watching football. Tell the boss I said you can have the day off.
Yeah. We will sign
My
a
wife
certificate.
will approve.
Yeah. Get a biggest TV, Brad.
That's not the only thing that I need bigger.
All right. We will be back on Wednesday with a reaction show for you after the Monday Night Football games have finished on Tuesday. So we'll record that, and that'll be back out on Wednesday. We will have the return of Matt Pat, the Buffalo Bills fan who joined us earlier in the season. He's going to jump on, do some reactions to all of this week, and preview the Bills-Texans game, which is Thursday Night Football for next week. So make sure you are looking for and checking that out for us. Jump onto YouTube if you haven't already. Like, subscribe, comment on YouTube for us. All of that stuff really, really helps us. Make sure on Spotify and Apple too, by the way, that you are hitting the subscribe button on there or the follow button, whichever one it happens to be. And so you don't miss any updates or when the shows come out, so that you can be alerted to when all of the Aussie Gridiron Network podcasts come out on Apple or Spotify every single week. So do that. There are also comment links there too. So comment, rate, do all of that stuff. Do all of the fun stuff that helps us get out to new people. Because if you're enjoying the show, tell someone about it or help someone else find it. That would be amazing. Thanks, Brad. Thanks, Nick. It's been a great week. I think we all need to go to bed and get ready to watch some football.
Man.